Hey there everybody, welcome back to more Rule of Rose. Last time we managed to escape from the gingerbread house with the assistance of Wendy, and rather oddly we find ourselves back on the airship. I wonder what could possibly be going on now. Well, it seems there is a rather dire emergency in the Aristocrats Club, as Joshua the Bear, who we found in the gingerbread house, has since gone missing, and it looks as if the Aristocrat Club is offering a promotion to the Red Crayon Society if you happen to find the bear.
Okay.
That could either be a positive or a negative, but Joshua the Bear is in danger, and it's up to us to try to find him. The only clue we have as of right now was that young boy telling us we should go hang out with Amanda, so let's go ahead and do that. It does make me wonder why Joshua the Bear is so important to the princess, or who the princess even is. We haven't actually seen who the princess is at this point. Also still fairly uncertain as to how Gregory there is actually getting on the airship, but he did leave behind another news story for us. Now, the story of the Rag Princess actually has some similarities with another well-known fairy tale known as Cinderella, or by its original title, Aschenputtel. Both of those titles have to do with the fact that, well, Cinderella lived in the chimney and thus was covered with ash and cinder, but in the case of the Rag Princess, she happened to live amongst a bunch of rags that she was then told to sew together by her fairy godmother. It was with this rather stinky dress that the Rag Princess attempted to go to the ball with the rest of her stepsisters, but as you can very well assume, nobody wanted to be around a stinky Rag Princess. Rather oddly, though, I guess the Rag Princess made herself a friend in a rag dress as well, and managed to live happily ever after. So it wasn't too bad. But we haven't seen Amanda in a while. Maybe she's doing okay. Or maybe she doesn't wish to speak with us. Well, we've kind of run into a dead end here. I guess we just need to start exploring and hopefully stumble upon Joshua. Though Amanda's reasoning doesn't really make a lot of sense, it does make a minor bit of sense that Wendy would have some attachment to Joshua since we did give it to her in the first place. Oh dear, what's happened, Wendy? I definitely have a notion of who might have told the aristocrat society about Wendy having the bear. But before we go confront Amanda, there's a new picture on the wall here. We've definitely seen that boy before, but I don't recognize the girl. I wonder who they both could be. But let's go ahead and go back and confront Amanda. We won't stand for this type of lies and treachery. It seems that Amanda has flown the coop. Amanda obviously knew her subterfuge wouldn't have lasted for long, but with Amanda gone, we can actually check in this nearby box we tried to check way long ago. And outside of a few sewing supplies, something rather interesting dropped out. I'm just going to clear up some inventory real quick. Ah, it's our first real clue as to where Joshua might be. We can now have Brown sniff this and be hot on the trail of wherever Amanda might have gone off to.
Go.
Now that definitely looked like Amanda, but it also looked like she was dragging Jennifer. Rather hard to see here. She actually did drop a key. And the glass case that it's referring to is actually something I haven't looked at just yet, but it's relatively close to Amanda's sewing machine. But we'll get to that later. First, we really need to confront Amanda. It looks like we finally have her cornered. But as such, it will not be as simple as that. Something or someone has knocked out the power, and as such the elevator won't work, but there is an emergency reset for the generator. The main problem is that it is on the opposing side of the blimp. It's a bit hard to tell from this diagram, but it is going to be a fairly lengthy journey.
Come.
Now, as we are heading back, we notice that one of the princes appears to be missing, and in his place we find a half-eaten biscuit. Now, if we happen to talk to that other nearby prince, he mentions that the larger, fatter, dirtier prince actually said he had found a new stick to do sword fighting with. Also, it struck me that since we were relatively nearby Amanda's little sewing room of sorts, that we can actually go ahead and quickly check on that glass case that we just got the key for. And inside we find Amanda's diary. And it is with this diary that we get the inner workings of Amanda's mind and quickly find that our apprehensions regarding her are pretty much correct. She is borderline, if not completely crazy and sociopathic, especially in regards to Jennifer, who initially she saw as something of, well, her replacement as a scapegoat to the aristocrats club. But instead, she has found that Jennifer has upstarted her, and, well, let's just say that she would want nothing more than to see the end of every child here. She seems like a very conflicted child, and something just seems completely off about her. But let's continue our journey over to the generator. Oh, that is definitely never a good sign. So we'll go ahead and equip the shovel we found at the gingerbread house. It has roughly the same length as the pipe. and a bit more damage, but what on earth are you? Say hello to the Pig Imp, the last new enemy type we'll be seeing in the game, and quite frankly one of the more dangerous ones, mostly due to that wide arm attack that you saw it do. That will actually completely stun Brown and knock us down. We'll be seeing much later in this video how dangerous that can be. And in the darkness, the ship has become yet again infested with all types of imps, especially the newer pig type. And especially in these confined spaces, their wide arm charge is fairly difficult to avoid. Thankfully, we are actually almost at the generator room, so we can get that restarted. But it appears that the new sword for the portly prince is actually... it's the restart lever for the generator. Thankfully, he only ran in this adjacent room, so we can hopefully get it back from him. Or yet again, we have yet someone else to chase across the airship. Now, upon checking in the sewage room over here, we do find another half biscuit. And what you're supposed to do is actually use this via Brown to search after that portly, dirty prince. But I have a feeling I know where a fat, hungry prince would go on the ship. And that is to the pantry. Here we find the restart lever for the generator. And while initially your first one is to go back and restart the generator, there actually is a rather lengthy detour we want to take. And that is back to the Sector 7 storage compartment. Yes, there is quite a number of enemies here, but there is one in particular that we are hoping to take down, as this particular imp has our final golden knife to get. That means this update we will be seeing what these golden knives are actually for. But now it is back to the generator room. And with power now flowing yet again, all the imps have despawned, but that also means that the elevator that we were hoping to get up is now repowered. So let us just exit this room and make another quick cut to get over there. I will say one of the major drawbacks of this particular chapter is just the massive amount of backtracking across the ship you have to do multiple times. But I think that Amanda is going to be on the upper floor. She seemed to have something about liking to see the sky.
nothing. I'm fine, really. I'm not upset at all. Oh, Jennifer. You know what? I've got something special. Look! Isn't it cute? Here, it's yours. Give it as a gift and you'll be Miss Popular again.
Something is massively wrong with Amanda. But we had the bear in our hands, but that prince that's just been antagonizing us this entire time and stole it away from us. So we are now going to give chase yet again in a rather new area of the airship. Before we follow him, though, there is a hidden away little lollipop over here. But we have seen this portion of the airship before. I think we saw it back in the Mermaid Princess, but now quite a bit of it has, well, rather ramshackle makeshift platforms built in. But it appears that we've been led into a extremely dangerous trap. Very small area full of enemies, and we have to defeat them before we can continue on. Now the shovel does relatively well since its final attack is a rather large arcing swing, but it really just does not have the stopping power we really need here. Also, I don't really know what's wrong with the stomping attack, but I have never actually been able to connect on any enemies with it. But with all the enemies taken out, the gates drop. And now we start on a very, very, very long journey. We actually have to get all the way across to the Sector 13 lift. And as such, I'm actually going to speed this up. Mostly due to the fact that absolutely nothing happens of any interest. Just have one more gauntlet to get through. And this one is the most dangerous one yet. Has a pig imp, along with 4 normal imps, one of whom I think has a weapon. And you see here the danger you run into even after being charged. That one imp was still holding on to me, leading into me having to swing it off while also being hit multiple times by the melee-wielding other imps. Really what you want to do here is try to take out the pig imp as quickly as possible. It will do probably the most damage out of all of them. And this is why you definitely want to be stockpiling healing items. There are just certain points in the with the combat of the game that, well, it gets rather cheap to say the least. Also, one of them did drop behind a knife. It's not an especially good weapon, but it is a new weapon. And even though Brown is down, we're going to go ahead and head to the Sector 13 lift. It'll actually cause Brown to respawn with at least a small chunk of health. Now, Brown can never technically fully die in the game, but he will be temporarily incapacitated or slowed depending on how much damage he takes. And after that rather harrowing chase sequence, we now find ourselves at another lift. And before we head down, I do want to head up to the upper floor. It does not actually regain us some access to the outside of the blimp, but instead there is a rather unique hidden away item up here. But it does require the use of a piece of candy.
Go!
And no, it's not this piece of candy.
Go!
It's actually this rather odd coin. Now, what is rather interesting about this coin is not what's on it, but the fact that we can find something else with it. Not something nearby. We actually have to go a rather lengthy journey to find the accompanying coin. Also, hopefully it'll put us back on track to finding that rather rambunctious boy we saw before. But here we find the accompanying coin, the Queen coin. And now that we have both coins, I'm just going to make a small detour and cut here to pick up all those golden knives we picked up before, and head back up to the first class compartment, where rather mysteriously Joshua the bear is just sitting here waiting for us. We were just led on a massive wild goose chase, it seems. But before we pick up Joshua, we can exchange a few items at the gift box for very special things. First, we are going to make an offering of all those golden knives we've been collecting. And we get a rather odd message from the gift box here. And for collecting all those knives, we get a rather lackluster prize, it seems. A rusty sword doesn't seem that amazing. But in reality, it's actually one of the best weapons in the game. Even though it says it's rusty, it's actually quite damaging and actually has a fairly good length. But I think we could do better. So we're going to actually offer up the rusty sword to the gift box. And rather generously, it gives us a Knight Rapier. The Knight Rapier is actually the same amount of damage as the rusty rapier, but it looks clean, so that's always better. Also, we can offer up the King and Queen coin. And for our troubles, we get yet another new weapon. The Stick of Justice. Sadly, it is not as impressive as it sounds as we quickly take a look at our bounty here. Get a nice shiny rapier. And we get a stick. The stick does not do good damage. It doesn't really have good reach. It's just a stick. But with that, we can go ahead and pick up Joshua. And hopefully, well, maybe we can join the Red Crayon Aristocrats.
Come here, Jennifer. Let's have a little talk. She's the one who stole it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aristocrat Club. A word from the princess. Jennifer has brought a wonderful gift to the Aristocrat Club.
Now you can have your very own red crayon. Hats off to you. Hats off to you. Hats off to you. Hats off to you. No, please.